Most people think delivering pizza is an easy job. You drive, drop off food, and walk away with a few dollars. But they don't think about the moments in between. The long driveways with no lights, houses that look abandoned but aren't. They don't think about who or what might be waiting for you on the other side when you step out of your car. Tonight, I'm sharing 3 true stories from drivers who realized too late that the order was actually a deadly trap. Lock your doors and turn up the volume. Welcome to the Dark Files. Let's open the first case tonight. Story 1. The house that wasn't there. It was a Tuesday night, usually our slowest shift. I got an order for a large pepperoni to an address I'd never seen. My GPS took me 5 miles out of town, past the new development, onto an old gravel road not marked on any map. I eventually hit a dead end. There was no house, just a rusted gate and an overgrown driveway leading into the dark woods. I called the customer. It rang forever. Finally, a voice picked up. It sounded wet, like they had fluid in their lungs. The voice whispered slowly, "I see your headlights. The gate is unlocked. Come past it and walk to the old barn in back." Against my better judgment, I grabbed the hot bag and got out. The gravel crunched loudly. It was completely dead silent. I walked past the gate. The air smelled terrible, like sulfur and old copper, like something had been decaying out here for weeks. I reached the barn. "Pizza delivery," I yelled out. My voice echoed against the wood, but nobody answered. Just the wind. I stepped just inside to get out of the rain. That's when I heard it. A slow, rhythmic tapping from above me. It came from the loft. Tap, tap, tap. I shined my flashlight up into the rafters to see where the customer was hiding. For a split second, the beam hit a face, pale, hairless, hanging upside down like a bat, staring directly at me. I dropped the pizza immediately. I didn't care about the money or the job. I turned around and sprinted back towards the car. As I ran, I heard a heavy thud hit the dirt behind me. Then sprinting footsteps that were way too fast to be human. I fumbled with my keys, hands shaking violently. I could hear the crunching of gravel getting closer and closer to my back. I threw the car into reverse and peeled out of there, tires spinning in mud. I didn't look back until I hit the main road. I drove 10 miles over the speed limit. When I got back to the shop, my boss asked why I looked like I'd seen a ghost. He told me that property burned down 10 years ago. He said nobody lived there anymore, and he didn't know how the order came through. When we checked the system to ban the number, the order was gone. It was like it had never been placed in the computer. I know what I saw in those rafters that night. It wasn't a ghost. It was flesh and blood, waiting for me to come inside. I filed a police report the next day. They went out to check the barn. They didn't find anyone living there at all. But in the corner of the loft, they found a pile of old, rotting pizza boxes from different companies. I wasn't the first one. Whoever's calling those orders isn't eating the pizza. They're hunting the drivers. And I was lucky enough to get away from them. I still drive past that road sometimes on other deliveries. I never look down it. I'm afraid I might see that gate open again. If you're a driver and you get an order for the old Miller farm, do yourself a favor. Cancel the order and go home. Because next time, the person who goes out there might not be fast enough to make it back to their car alive. But that was just the beginning. The next story happened in a neighborhood just like yours, right next door maybe. This next driver thought he was safe because he was in the suburbs. He was wrong. He was dead wrong about everything. Let's open the second file, the house with the broken lights, and the man who was waiting inside for him. It happened in a regular suburb, nice houses, green lawns, but this specific house was completely pitch black, like a void in the neighborhood. I walked up to the porch. The instructions on the receipt were specific. Door is open. Please come inside, I am disabled. We aren't supposed to go inside customers' homes, but I really needed the tip. I pushed the door open. Hello? Pizza? I called out. A voice called out from the back room. It sounded like a frail old man. In here, son. Just bring it to the kitchen table. I walked into the kitchen. The smell hit me first. It smelled terrible, like rotting meat mixed with heavy industrial-strength bleach. I placed the pizza on the table. The money is on the counter, the voice said. But the voice wasn't frail anymore. It sounded deep. I reached for the cash sitting on the counter. It felt wet and sticky. I pulled my hand back and shined my phone light on it. The money was soaked in fresh blood. My heart stopped beating. I slowly turned around to face the corner of the dark room. Standing there was a man in a clear plastic raincoat. He wasn't disabled at all, and he was holding a massive carving knife in his hand. He didn't lunge at me. He just stood there, blocking the hallway to the front door.
You forgot your tip.
I didn't try to run past him. I grabbed a heavy wooden chair and threw it through the kitchen window with all my strength. I scrambled out into the backyard, cutting my arms on the broken glass. I could hear him laughing maniacally from inside the dark kitchen. I sprinted to the neighbor's house and pounded on the door until they called the cops. They arrived within just a few minutes. When they entered the house, the man in the raincoat was gone. But in the basement, they found the real owner of the house. The old man was tied up in the basement. He hadn't placed the order at all. The intruder had been waiting in his house for hours. Police said the intruder used the homeowner's phone to order the pizza. He wanted to lure someone else inside to attack them too. The blood on the money? It belonged to the homeowner's dog. I don't want to think about what would have happened if I didn't see it. I have a scar on my arm from the window glass. Every time I look at it, I remember that man's smile and his voice. They never caught him. For all I know, he's waiting in another dark house, ordering another pizza right now, looking for another victim. That was the last time I ever entered a customer's home. If they don't answer the door, I leave the food and run away. You never know who is actually behind the door. Just because the porch light is off doesn't mean nobody is home waiting for you. Sometimes the darkness is a trap, and sometimes the prey walks right into it, holding a pepperoni pizza and smiling. 2 drivers escaped, but this final story is different. This one involves a coordinated ambush, multiple attackers working together. Our final file comes from a driver who took a late-night delivery to a cabin near the lake. The fog was deadly thick that night. Let's open the final case. The last delivery. The one where they were all waiting for him. My last delivery was at 11:55 p.m. The address was a cabin miles away from the main road. The fog was so thick I could barely see. I pulled up to the cabin. It looked small. There was a sedan parked in the driveway with its trunk wide open in the rain. I thought it was strange to leave a trunk open in this weather. I saw a plastic tarp inside. I grabbed the pizzas and walked to the door. I knocked on the front door. No answer. I knocked again, harder this time. Then my phone buzzed in my pocket unexpectedly. It was a text from the customer. It just read, "Check the back door." I sighed. Customers do this sometimes to avoid the wind and rain. I walked around the side of the cabin. The ground was muddy. I noticed deep footprints, but they weren't going into the house at all. They were facing away from the house, like someone had been standing there waiting. I rounded the corner slowly to the backyard area. The back door was wide open, but no lights were on. Standing in the middle of the yard was a woman, facing the dark woods. She wasn't moving at all. She was just standing there, humming a low tune. "Ma'am, pizza?" I said. She stopped humming instantly and froze. She slowly turned around. She wasn't wearing a face. She was wearing a burlap sack with rough holes cut out for the eyes only. In her hands, she was gripping a rusted shovel. She didn't speak. She just raised the shovel slowly and pointed it directly behind me. From the tree line, 3 men stepped out. They were all wearing masks. They had been waiting in the woods for me to walk around back. It was an ambush. I threw the pizzas directly at the woman to distract her and sprinted back the way I came as fast as I could. I heard the shovel hit the ground. I slipped in the mud, scrambling on all 4s. I could hear them running behind me now. I got to my car. My hands were shaking so bad I dropped my keys. It felt like a nightmare where you can't move fast enough. Just as I locked the door, a fist slammed against the window. One of the men was right there, staring directly at me through the glass. He didn't have eyes visible, just black holes in the mask. He tried to rip the door handle off, screaming inaudibly at me. I floored the gas and sped away, almost hitting a tree. I called the police immediately. When they arrived, the cabin was completely empty. But that car with the open trunk, it was reported stolen. And inside they found the uniform of a missing driver from another pizza company. The police think they used the woman as bait. They lure drivers to the back, ambush them, and take their vehicles and uniforms. I quit that night. I didn't even go back to the shop to get my paycheck. No job is worth dying for. Not even close. I still have nightmares about the woman in the burlap sack. I wonder if they ever caught the driver they were looking for that night. If you ever get a text telling you to check the back door, don't do it. Just drive away and never ever look back. The woods are full of people who don't want to be found. And sometimes they get hungry for more than just pizza deliveries. That cabin is still out there. I checked Google Earth. It looks empty, but I know they are still watching and waiting for the next driver. Be careful who you open your door for, and be even more careful whose door you walk up to in the dark. Because the next time you hear a knock on your door, it might be the last thing you ever hear in your life. 3 stories, 3 narrow escapes, but not everyone is so lucky. Not everyone makes it back to their car alive. Delivery drivers are the unsung heroes of the night. They walk into the dark so you don't have to. Remember that next time. If you enjoyed these files, leave a like and subscribe to the archive. It helps the channel grow in the dark corners of YouTube. Which story terrified you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Join us next time for more true horror stories. Until then, check your back seat. And are you sure you're alone right now? Because something might be watching you.